Hey there, Rednecks, Preppies, Redneck Preppies. It's me, the Redneck Preppy. How you doing today? Great? Good. So today I'm going to discuss a question that I get asked occasionally, mostly from anglers, but you hear it from those in the shooting sports and the off-road / show community as well. How does one get sponsorships? Hey, competition season is coming, and that means tournaments, and tournaments hopefully means sponsorships. Now, I'm going to say at the outset that I don't claim any personal expertise on sponsorship. I've never been a sponsored competitor, but I have, for what it's worth, talked with a lot of sponsored competitors and sponsoring companies for their insights. Now, why someone would want a sponsorship is obvious. Once you start getting serious in a competitive sport, it can get expensive. Any help in helping to defray costs, whether it's entry fees, equipment, travel, whatever it may be, is going to help. Of course, when I hear that question, I sometimes also think that the person asking seems to believe that they aren't a real competitor unless they have company badges and logos across their jersey or tagging a dozen companies in their social media posts. It's not true, but it is what it is. Now, before we get into the topic of sponsorships themselves, I have to briefly discuss the topic of pro staff. When someone is seeking or is offered a position as a pro staff member, or they're telling other people about it, there's often that the taste is, that the position is a little more than it actually is. Pro staff does not mean professional staff. It means promotional staff. And essentially what a pro staff member does is act as a salesperson for a company in exchange for some, relatively minor compensation. You'll represent this company in your region, and your job will be, to promote them. The company is trading on your local reputation to help put their product in stores. In exchange, you'll typically receive some swag, hats, shirts, whatever, and perhaps some of the product that you're shilling, maybe for free, maybe at a reduced cost. You generally aren't getting entry fees paid or bass boats or much of anything else. I've been offered numerous pro staff positions over the years, and they're all basically the same. An unpaid salesman who can low-key claim with a logo on their jersey that they have a bigger than it really is relationship with a company. Now, that's not to say that a pro staff position can't grow to become a sponsorship of some kind. It just isn't a sponsorship at that level. Let me say this, you might think getting a pro staff position is a nothing burger, but the competition for these spots are pretty fierce too. A lot of companies expect you to apply for a position, pro staff, and if they're interested, to then submit a pretty complete resume. Now, on to why you're actually here, the deal on sponsorships. Let me say from the outset, there is no magical formula. There isn't a set number of social media followers or win-play show at tournaments, competitions, or shows that automatically net you sponsorships. If you're expecting a flowchart in video form to teach you guaranteed ways to get them, you're not going to find it here. First, what you need to understand is that sponsorships are very rarely charitable enterprises. The reason why a company would sponsor someone is quite simple. They're trying to get their name out as far as possible and make more sales. You are merely another tool in pursuit of that. Sponsorships are a cost-benefit calculation to companies, and you need to ask yourself, what do I bring to the table that would attract a company to part with some valuable advertising budget dollars to support my tournament or competition activities? The reality is that many companies have either reduced certain segments of their advertising budgets or are ruthlessly efficient in how they now spend those dollars. The days where they would throw money around are gone. With so many different venues, traditional print media, television, online, companies have to prioritize their money to get maximum return. Let me be brutally honest with you right now. Big companies do not care if you're the cat's meow on your local tournament trail or club competitions. If you think the fact that you dominate some competitions in your backwater neighborhood means a company should sponsor you, you're going to be in for a rude shock. A big company will ask itself one question. How does sponsoring this person in competitions the local paper might not even care about sell more of our product? The answer, of course, is it won't. You have a record of accomplishment of being successful in your sport at a high level and over a period of time in order to attract that kind of attention. The reality is also that when you send a letter or email to some big company inquiring about sponsorship, you would best be presenting a professional level business case to them. You must clearly answer the return on investment question for them. That means in your proposal to them, you need to not only show that you have a record of accomplishment, you should also be illustrating your connections within the industry you're operating in, a deep familiarity with the potential sponsor and their products, the relationships that you have with different groups, what kind of influence you have on social media platforms, and the efforts that you've made in outreach and how that's going to benefit the company you'd like a sponsorship from. That leads me to my next point. When you're contacting a company about a sponsorship, you're essentially applying for a job. You won't just be collecting money, receiving reduced cost or free products. You're also expected to work. That means constantly promoting the company and its products in every venue imaginable, be it in the media or at trade shows, competitions, wherever it may be, as well as providing feedback and consultation about the company's products and insights into the marketplace that they operate in. Short version, what can you do for the company? If those are questions that you can't answer thoroughly, professionally, and with real numbers, you aren't ready to spin up your email client to bombard companies with your very kind offer to be sponsored by them. A local auto dealer or outfitter might throw you some entry fees or supplies out of charity or to burnish their community credentials without that professional approach, but I wouldn't expect anyone else to do so. It's a business relationship you're seeking, and it's a business approach you should be taking. So in general terms, how do you do this? Well, the easiest way to go about it is that you're doing a job interview for a dream job when approaching potential sponsors. That means you're selling yourself and how you can contribute to driving their goals and aspirations forward as a partner. That means you're putting together a package, whether it's paper or digital, which explains how you're going to be doing that. It's called a sponsorship proposal, and if you think all you need to do is write about how much you like the company, that you'll be competing this year and will proudly wear the company's logo on your jersey and truck, you're probably going to be disappointed with the results. Although you're writing a proposal, treat it like a resume. So that means your package should have a letter where you'll briefly discuss yourself and your accomplishments. Do some research on the company if you haven't, and find out about some of their initiatives. The ammunition company you're looking for a sponsorship from supports veteran causes. Mention that and tell them that you appreciate what they stand for. Now the important part. What can you do for them? Here you want to be specific. Tell them about how your accomplishments in whatever competitions you've been in have either increased the company's sales or have the potential to do so. Tell them what kind of commitment you can make in terms of time. Give them reasonable estimates about what kind of return on investment they can expect if they wave the wand over you. Companies are interested in hitting multiple venues with their message, so you can also fill them in on your metrics, things like your social media reach, print and broadcast media appearances, email lists, places where you'll be spreading your message and the company's. If you want to include on a separate page your long list of accomplishment in competition, feel free to. You'll find a number of templates online on how to make a sponsorship proposal, so I'm not going to go deep in the weeds on that, but just remember that your presentation should be aimed at telling the company how they cannot live without you. You do need to remember that companies are being barraged by sponsorship requests as the number of fishing tournament trails, shooting competitions, and off-road events are expanding in numbers. You may not get a sponsorship. You may be offered a pro staff or field staff position to start. The more that you do with those gigs, the better chances of one day being elevated to sponsorship. If the company declines to work with you, be professional. Thank them for their time and tell them that you hope to work with them in the future. The fishing, sport shooting, hunting, off-road business communities are small, and companies do talk to each other. There's no reason to get a bad rep with a bunch of companies because you were a jerk to just one of them. So what you'll do for them, or what will you do for them if you get a sponsorship? Well, you're a representative of that company now. You comport yourself as a professional at all times and promote that business alongside yourself. You're getting some sort of consideration now, whether it's a break on the company's product or actual money. It's now a professional relationship. Here's some tips. One, a lot of people looking for sponsors blindly send emails to whatever address they can find on a company's website. Send the email to whomever does the marketing. They're the ones who are the first line on where advertising money is spent. If you get some sort of response, super. If you don't, you kind of got an answer there as well. Another tip is if a company is going to look at you for a sponsorship, they're also going to do research on you. You can bet that they're going to go through your social media with a fine-tooth comb. If you have questionable things there, whether it's just slagging that company's competitor or some truly stupid material that we're all capable of, you might want to clean it up before you go on this quest. You might also want to practice your public speaking. You may get to a point where you're going to be asked to talk to the public about Brandco's products. You should at least be professional sounding. If you don't know how to do it already, sharpen up those writing, photography, and video editing skills. Companies like their products in great pictures and videos, whether on your social media or something that they can use for their efforts. Too much work? Are you sure you want a sponsorship? Because it is work. Earlier in the video, I mentioned local businesses that might offer you something out of charity or community engagement. Practice with them. If you approach them, give them the same respect and consideration you would a larger entity. Go at them with a professional package, just as you would for someone that you're looking for a full ride from. They may not be Shimano or Magpul or Terraflex, but they're doing you a solid. Give them that in return with how you approach them, and then go on to work with them. If you're good at what you do and over a long enough timeline and high enough level, sponsorships will come. If you don't reach that hallowed level, at the end of the day, don't forget why you're competing out there. It's to have a good time. Not everyone can turn their passion into a paying job, but everyone can still enjoy that passion. At any rate, I hope you found this video to be vaguely entertaining and at least somewhat informative. As always, I hope you have yourself a fantastic day, and may your competition jersey, boat, or vehicle be festooned with sponsor logos one day. Take care, and bye-bye.